Hello, Leo. Welcome to your reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you're watching this reading was meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there's anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Leo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Four of Cups. You're somebody that is, you try to be empathic towards other people. I think that you really try to be open, you try to be accepting, you try to be vulnerable with people. But sometimes you kind of get that feeling that it's better to not get too close. You know what I mean? The Four of Cups is kind of it's a caution, right? It's kind of saying that, I want to stay in this rather safe area here. I'm not so sure how I feel about you yet. I'm not so sure how I feel about this situation or this job or this energy, right? I want to like it. I think I'll like it. I think it'll be great. But I want to stay cautious. I want to stay a little bit, protected from some energy, okay? So this really could be a new relationship. It could be something going on at work. Just not really quite sure how we feel about it yet. It's like you're at the furniture store and you're testing out different couches or something. You're like, I want to like it, but I'm holding off until I really get to know it better or until I see some other examples that I can compare this one to, right? So in whatever the situation for you right now in your life, I feel like you kind of are, you're preferring something. You think it's going to be the one, whether it's the job or the path or the person, right? But you're just saying, okay, I want to kind of take a look around. It's like you're shopping for cars or something, or you're looking at houses and this sort of thing, that you really are trying to contain yourself because you don't want to be hurt or disappointed later. So we're trying not to rush into the situation now. And yeah, maybe it has to do with friends or a family situation or even romance. Okay, let's put this card into a little bit of context and let's see what's going on in your life. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. We got the Ace. Yeah, see, there's the Ace of Pentacles. And there's the Princess of Cups. Nine of Swords. This is all making perfect sense. Now you have a Four of Swords as well. And you've got the Prince of Wands in the future position. You have a Five of Swords. You have a Queen of Swords. You have the Death card and a Two of Pentacles. I think this is a wonderful message. Okay, and especially at the end there with that two, with that harmonious change, that you're able to kind of understand what your emotions are doing here and how you may find yourself getting attached to some things. And but despite that emotion right there in the middle and sort of welling up from underneath with the cups down here, right, the princess, you're able to do what you need to do in kind of I don't want to say a rational way, but I think more intuitive than rational, right? Especially with that Queen of Swords kind of saying, take a look at the bigger picture here. Don't just get so sort of, don't put the blinders on. Don't get so laser focused on what this one thing is. Maybe this is a house or a purchase of some kind, right? Well, let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith Waite Tarot. We'll just take one out of the middle and we'll put Michael Scott right on top. Somehow I manage. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it is going to tie everything together and give us our confirmation. All right. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments down below. Yeah. Let's do it together. Let's practice that intuition. Well, let's look around the room first and see what we've got down here. We've got one major arcana energy, the Death card. It's in the position of what you don't want, right? it's in the position of the fear, the worry, and the concern. I think really partly the fear here, I think, is repeating this Nine of Swords in the background. The Death card is not a bad card at all. It's a card of change. It's a card that says, I'm really trying to put the past behind me. I'm trying not to be so tied up, even in the unconscious, tied up unconsciously with my past, that I end up making, it ends up kind of influencing the decisions I'm making now. So it's kind of about cutting ties with our history in the sense of not letting it influence us now. We don't want to forget. We're going to keep that energy with us, but we're going to realize that we're not doomed to repeat the same patterns, right? And that's kind of the Death card, is kind of a letting go of the past and moving ever forward, trying to be aware at least of how our past is still affecting us. Okay, that's an important point here, I think, especially with that Nine of Swords in the background. So we've got our one very fundamental, that's the fundamental force of the universe that changed, right? We've got a little bit of fire here in the future position, because we are taking action here. There is going to be something that you're doing here with this energy and with this, whatever this object is that you're approaching, whether it's a path, and that's kind of our Ace of Pentacles. If it's a person, if it's a place, it's a thing, it's a path that you're going to be going, or whatever it might be. Okay, a commitment, something like this. So anyway, we got our fire. We've got our water down here. We got a lot of air. And of course we have our earth, right? So we're sort of looking at a particular path here with the ace, and then with the two, we're taking a step on the path, a path. Whether it's this one or a different one, it's up to you. But this is the idea that we're sort of pausing here in our feelings, in that Four of Cups. We're pausing to say, okay, look, I like this thing. I want it, but I've got to make sure that I'm not just being sucked into another repeat of last time, right? That I want this for legitimate, authentic reasons now, and it's not just a cycle playing out, So the Ace of Pentacles represents that thing, that object. Now, whether it's a person, a place, or a thing, or a path, or an idea, or a belief, or, a new project that you want to begin, or whatever it might be. Now, Spirit's telling me that you're a bit of a medium or a psychic kind of yourself, right? You do a lot of divination, I think, on your own. Now, I don't know if that's tarot or if that's something else. I feel like it's a lot quicker than tarot might be. So I think maybe you're either just doing like one card pulls every day to sort of get a feel for the day, or you're doing something else even that might be a little bit unconventional, like flipping a coin, rolling the dice. These seemingly random things, and that's the thing about divination, is that it seems totally random. I shuffled the cards probably 50 times before I turned the camera on. And so it seems it's as random as I can make it. And then we get the cards, and the cards tell a story, and that, it feels like these are random cards, and I'm just sort of trying to figure out what they all mean, right? I don't think it's random at all. And I think that you don't either. So when you flip a coin, you know that theoretically or statistically it's 50-50, right? But you know that Spirit's going to influence that coin in some way that maybe we don't quite understand, but I think you believe that it works that way, okay? And so this path that you're on now, I think you're trying to get really an intuitive feel on it. You're trying to get out of your head, trying to get out of your heart, and you're trying to just kind of see. Maybe you're flipping a coin over it. Maybe it's not quite that, it's not that random, I guess. But I think you're trying to rise above the heart and the mind and really get a feel for whatever this path is, if this is the right one for you. Whether it's a person, a place, or a thing, doesn't matter. Could be romance, could be work, could be school, could be a spiritual path. Right? Maybe you're thinking about taking up a spiritual path or a religion or a belief or something like this, a cause, The Princess of Cups underneath everything is showing that this is kind of a new feeling, that you're attracted to this thing. Maybe it's a new house. Maybe you went and looked at a house. You said, oh, I like it, right? Maybe it's kind of the way a new workout routine might look, or the way kind of a new way of eating. I don't want to call it a diet. A new way of eating. You might say, hey, that looks like maybe you're going to do Mediterranean diet. That looks pretty good. I think I want to do that. hold on a second. I'm having these feelings now, and they kind of feel familiar a little bit. I think it's a new feeling toward a new thing, but it kind of reminds you of something else, because this is that feeling we get when we kind of fall in love with something. We have an initial desire. I want that. Walking through like Walmart or something, I see that big TV, and I'm like, oh, that'd be nice, but come on, it's it's hundreds of dollars. I don't know about that. But we feel that attraction towards something. Okay, and sometimes we have to stop and say, okay, you know what? Just because I'm having that pleasant feeling now where I want to unite with this thing doesn't mean it's good for me, doesn't mean I should. And why am I having that feeling towards that particular thing? What is it about this thing that sort of resonates with me? Right? The big TV, well, maybe it's because when I was a kid, all we had were these little tiny black and white TVs with the rabbit ears. Yeah, I'm showing my age a little bit, right? Didn't have, a lot of nice things as a kid, right? Sort of grew up, kind of poor, not complaining, but, it is what it is. But we sort of ask ourselves, we can stop and say, okay, I'm having these feelings. What do they actually mean? What is it that my heart is really desiring in this? Why do I feel this attraction? Okay. And it's not always a good thing to stop and ask why, because it sort of calls a timeout on things, And I think right now that's what you're doing though. You're saying, hey, okay, it's kind of a timeout right now. I got to figure out what I feel and why I feel this way. And I think the reason why you're calling the timeout is because of this Nine of Swords in your past. This is in your past position. I think that you, maybe not recently, but you've kind of, you've gotten burned by something, and whether, I don't know if this was the same kind of thing. I don't know if it was, you bought a house before and it turned out to be, a bad investment, a money trap or something. And so now you kind of want to buy this house and you're thinking, wait a minute, I know this feeling, or if it's a relationship or something like that, it doesn't even have to be related to this new thing. This could be something completely different, but this is perhaps the memory or the reminder or that wound that still sort of stings, where it's like I followed my heart before and I got into some bad situation and I want to make sure this doesn't happen again. And the Death card is there to remind us that, okay, our past is still affecting us in some way. Okay? It could be that this, for better or for worse, this is what's prompting us to call a timeout. Our memory of this isn't the memory itself. This isn't the function of memory, right? This is us remembering a Nine of Swords situation and thinking, okay, wait a minute. I got to kind of put a timeout on my feelings right now so I can understand how I'm being influenced by that Nine of Swords. Maybe that's the wound, and it's saying, okay, we don't want to go into this thing. We maybe want to be a little cautious taking this new path, whatever it is. But maybe this is a perfectly wonderful path. Maybe this is just a delicious path that's absolutely perfect and wonderful, and you should go down this path, right? But the Nine of Swords, the memory of that Nine of Swords, kind of saying, wait a minute, just take a look at it again. Make sure everything's in alignment before you start going forward. Okay? And if it is, wonderful, great, fabulous, right? If it's not, okay, I'm happy that I stopped moving for now, right? Because the 4 is a stationary number. The 4 is kind of like, it's solid. It's kind of like, okay, for now, I need to set up some boundaries. These boundaries that I have here are going to be temporary. I'm kind of putting myself in a box. I'm sort of, I'm building a chain link fence around myself right now, but just for a minute. Okay, the fence is going to go down soon, and I'm either going to go that way, or that way, or that way, or back that way. I'm not going to stay here forever inside this fence, but for right now, I need to go to my room, shut the door, and think. Feel and think, but rise above feeling and thinking, as it were, with the Queen of Swords that we do have. The 4 of Swords, though, at the top of the path here. We're not making a decision yet. We're trying to put our mind at rest. And I think a good lesson for the 4 of Swords for you is to listen more. Okay, if this is a negotiation, if this is a job thing, if this is a conversation at all in any way, even if it's a conversation with yourself, be the last one to talk. Okay? Even if it's a dialogue with yourself, be the last one to talk. Let your heart go on and on and on and on and on and on in your mind about how good this is, how you should do it, all the reasons why. Let your heart give its opinion first. Let your ego, or let that part of you, that desire part of you, let that talk first. And don't say anything. Just listen. Listen to yourself. Listen to the thoughts that are going through your head. Listen to what you're trying to convince yourself to do, because this Princess of Cups is just like, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. I will clean my room. I'll be good. I will save money next month. I've already researched it. I've known this person forever. That house is the perfect house for us. Look how big it is. Look at the color of it. Look at the wallpaper. I want it, I want it, I want it. And this part of you is just saying, okay, maybe we're asking questions so we can further understand what it is we're feeling, or what the other person maybe is proposing to us, what the offer is on the table. It could be that. There is 1, 2, 3 court cards here, so it feels like it's probably a conversation with somebody else. It can be internal, as I was, saying, but I think it is something outside of you. And so it might be this card is about listening, letting the other people talk first. And if you, in any situation in life, try it. When you're having a conversation with somebody, just listen. Maybe ask a couple questions. Or, well, what did you mean by that? Or can you explain that a little bit further? And just listen. Don't nod your head. Don't shake your head. Just listen. And people have a tendency to keep talking. If you don't say anything, the other person is going to feel almost compelled to keep talking. Okay? And then through that, and even with ourselves, that I'm not trying to control my mind. I'm not trying to agree or disagree with the thoughts that I'm having. I'm just standing back as a witness, maybe asking some follow-up question. What did I mean by that? This could be all internal, and maybe it sounds crazy. That's okay. I don't care. And the truth will eventually work itself out if you're listening, if you're paying attention. Okay? And then once all of that, and really this is the key of meditation as well, is to just let the mind do what it's doing. You sit down for meditation, you don't have to sit there and struggle and try to control your mind and say, shut up, mind. Just sit there, relax as a witness, and let your mind run on and on and on. It's going to think about a million things all day, all night, maybe for years. But one day it's just going to be, okay, I'm done. It's like a trope in a movie. It's like a Jim Carrey movie or something, right? It just goes on and on and on and on and on for months and months. And finally one day its mind just says, okay, I'm done. I've ran out of things to say. I've ran out of things to think. And then we can, then we have our chance to do what we need to do, to meditate, to realize the self or whatever, or to ask the question or to state our opinion. Okay, well, I've listened to you for weeks and weeks. Here's what I think and feel and want and don't want. Here's my opinion of it. And of course, the more you listen, the more you're going to get the information that's going to help you to form your opinion. So you're not agreeing or disagreeing, you're just listening, and you're going to be the last to speak, but you're going to be the one with the most information, the most things to say. Or the most, not maybe the most words, but the most meaning, even in very few words. So that's the Four of Swords, and I think that is, it's kind of like the thing with the heart too, that we're not agreeing with what the heart wants. We're listening, we're letting that energy sort of make itself known. The Prince, okay, the Prince of Wands in the future position, this is a Leo power card, okay? That is one of the cards that represent the Leo energy. It's fixed fire energy, because it says that once you commit to something, once you start it, you can go through that difficult middle. And you can follow through with it. And maybe that's part of your Nine of Swords. That's sort of your curse, Leo. Is that once you begin something, you're in it. Once you give your word, it's that it's the nobility of that lion energy, right? That once you commit to something, once you bond with something, that's it. You're seeing it through. You commit to this job. It's like, okay, now I'm there. For however long. It's like, you're not just going to start it a couple days later. No, thanks, bye. So a decision like this feels like a big decision. You're really going to take it seriously. And you have that commitment. You have that perseverance. Even if things are bad, you kind of stick it out, right? And that's what this card is really saying in the future position, that you're taking your time to get the right answer now. Because once you start this, you're going to be in it for the long haul. It's one of your most powerful skills and abilities and talents, your spiritual power, right? To be able to commit to something and to stay with it even when it gets rough, even for the ups and downs of life. And the ups and downs really is a reference to that Two of Pentacles as well. That this may feel like this is the only thing in the world for you right now. This is the only house I could ever want. This house is perfect. Okay, let's do it. Pull the trigger, buy the house. Sign the contract, start paying the mortgage. Well, a few months later, a week later, next day even, you kind of see some other house and you think, oh, wow, that house is nice too. Or you think, God, this house was great, but man, I really didn't know the basement was going to flood like that. Or I didn't know that this or that. Or maybe I don't like the neighborhood as much as I thought I did. Or there's too many squirrels here, right? There's always going to be something, right? And that's sort of human nature. We're going to find sort of, that vision of perfection is going to fade from our eyes a little bit. And we're going to see something for what it really is. But the thing is, you've already committed to it. So you're okay with the ups and downs. The relationship gets rocky at points, right? There's your experience at work. There's going to be good days and bad days. You've committed to this new business. Some days are going to be low. Some days are going to be high. This is a new religious path. Some days you're going to start to question and think this is just, it's frustrating. This is not, you're going to have doubts, of course. We all do. But you have that ability to commit. And that says, even when things get rocky, I believe in my choice. And I know that this is it. And so I can handle the ups and downs, the roller coaster of the Two of Pentacles, right, of life. So that's why you make sure you make the right decision now. Because once you do, and the road starts to get bumpy, you can sort of rest easy. It says, okay, there's bumps in the road. There's always going to be bumps in the road. But I'm so confident in my choice that I don't mind the bumps in the road. That they're par for the course. It's not going to affect me all that terribly. If we make sort of a very fickle choice, then we start getting the bumps in the road and we think, I made the wrong choice. And you probably did, because you didn't really feel it and think it through and intuit it through, I guess, right? So let's talk about the path of the serpent. And as we do this, I'd like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It's totally free. Supports the channel. I appreciate that. Your general energy, of course, is that Five of Swords. Five of Swords can be a little bit of doubt. In some ways, I feel like the Four of Swords is you asking the questions, sort of a passive, just taking it all in. The Five of Swords is kind of like you're now, you're asking, right? This is you maybe listening. This is you asking the questions. Yeah. I feel like this is now when it's our turn to talk. This is movement in your mind. This is you changing your mind sometimes. Okay. Now, anytime we get the Four, we start looking for the Five. Like I said, we're going to build that chain link fence around us. I need the boundaries. I need to think. I need to sort of isolate. I need to figure out what I think and how I feel about this. This is us taking that chain link fence down and going out into the world and making our statement. Now it's your turn to speak. Okay. And I think that with this comes a tendency to sort of change our mind, right? That the longer we sort of sit with this, the longer we look at this, we think about it, we analyze it, we start to kind of look at both sides of the equation, we start to kind of make the pros and cons list. There is maybe a tendency for you to err on the side of caution, that it's better to say no to something because we'll avoid the Nine of Swords. If we don't let anything in, if we say no to everything, then there's never a chance that I'm going to get this Nine of Swords back. I'll never have that again. If I say no to everything, if I say no to every single relationship, I'll never get burned by a relationship. Okay, I found the secret, But I think that this is a problem too, and that's why I feel the next card is really the key of it all, because this could be too much self-defeating. This is kind of a card that wants to say no to everything. The flip side of that, of course, turning the card around, is saying yes to everything. Saying yes to everything, you're going to invite in a lot of these swords that we don't want, a lot of these terrible relationships, for the sake of finding that one that is perfect. It's like you buy a million houses just to find the one that you really, really like, that really is yours, really is meant for you. So it's the exact opposite. I'm buying 0 houses, so I never get the one that's going to hurt me. Or I buy every house, that way I'm more likely to find the one that's going to love me, And so this is not the solution either. Okay, so we don't want to think about it too much, but you are in this kind of timeout period. We've built the chain link fence around us. And we're saying, okay, I need to make a decision. I need to do something with this. What do I really want to do? The next card is the Queen of Swords. This is about getting that objective viewpoint. We're not really overthinking. We're sort of looking at it, and we're looking at the past. We're looking at the Nine of Swords. What was that? How did that go down? How did I get into that? And then what similarities does it have with what's going on right now? And what differences? We have to compare and contrast, right, with what's happening right now. There's probably a lot of similarities. There's probably a lot of differences too. And I think the Death card is there too to help us realize that the past is the past. Okay? We're not repeating the past. What we're doing is perhaps repeating some of the same patterns, habits, thoughts that we had in the past, right? But this is a new situation. The present moment is not the past. We want to look in the future and think, okay, is this one going to go down the same road that the last one did? And I'll find myself repeating that energy. It's a totally new situation. Totally new situation. Could have very similar results or very different results. Okay? And even in sort of scientific experimentation, as objective as we can be, the same exact conditions of an experiment may lead to wildly different results. There's always that element of chance, of chaos, of randomness getting into the experiment. It could be a completely controlled thing. It's going to be different in the end. How could that be, right? So even if something seems very similar to what happened last time, it's not guaranteed to end up the same way. Okay, these are all things that we have to really look at. We do have to assess the present situation and sort of extrapolate out, okay, how is this really going to go? Does this really make sense? And of course, you be aware of your Princess of Cups underneath everything, making everything you think about, turning it into something that feels good. Oh, you're going to love the house. It's better than any house you've ever seen. Oh, of course, the animals outside are going to be just wonderful. You're going to have so much fun, feeding the squirrels or whatever. You have a tendency to not look at the bad things. You have a tendency to not look at what you might not like. And instead we focus on all the good points. Oh yeah, we've got the money. Oh yeah, next year's going to be a great year. We can afford it. It's going to be fine. So we convince ourselves to do something. The same way we can convince ourselves to not do something if that's the energy too. And I feel like you're capable of both. So we sort of need to rise above the heart and the mind and tap into the intuition. What is your, if you want to call it your gut, what is your intuition? What does that higher mind tell you? That higher discernment. Okay. Because this is a situation that you should not impulsively jump into. Rather, we need to remember and be aware of how much the past is really affecting us here. Okay, and we're getting to the end of the reading and the end of the cards, and I think this Death card really sums it up, that our past will influence us. We need to try as much as we can to say, okay, the past was the past. I do not want to repeat that. I don't want to go back to a Nine of Swords. I don't want this new situation to become a Nine of Swords. But I can't make my present decisions based on what happened last time. This is a brand new situation with new factors and new variables. So let me try to stay present here in the moment and feel what this one is really about. Does it feel right? Does it feel good? Okay. Does it, in that high, not just, of course, the Princess of Cups is saying, yeah, it feels good. In that sort of, that higher perception. Okay. And in some ways, this is about your divination, that we need to tap into that rather than tapping into, and even in divination, there's a tendency for our emotions to bias us, right? We can get any of these cards and we can say, it means yes, or we can get the same card and say, it means no, right? And that's why I always say the tarot is not going to tell you what to do. The tarot is going to show you what your biases are. The tarot is going to show you the way that you're thinking and the way that you're looking and feeling about a situation, but will not tell you what to do. Because you get another reader in here, they'll tell you the exact opposite. So the 2, right? 2 of Pentacles, is it yes or is it no? It's neither. Right now it seems that you have not made a decision. You're going to make a decision as you feel this energy through, as you take all of this into account and you decide for yourself what you're going to do. I'm not going to tell you, the tarot's not going to tell you. Anybody that's coming here looking for the tarot to tell you to do something or not to do something, you're better off flipping a coin. The tarot is going to show you the energy and the way the energy is trending. Okay? It feels as if this is something that you're going to take the next step toward. We have the Ace, we have the 2. So to me, it feels like it's a progression. It's a step forward. This is a harmonious change. This feels like your state of life right now. You're looking at this option, whatever it is, and you're making a harmonious change in your life. Is it harmonious to walk away from that thing? Or is it harmonious, is it going to add to your life to pursue that thing, to accept the job, to get into the relationship, to buy the thing, right? I feel like there is a particular trend of energy here, but let's look at our mystery card. I think I want to see some water energy. I want to see a 6, 3, 6, 9, or 10 of cups. But I feel it's going to be some major arcana energy. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Yeah, the Chariot. The Chariot is movement. The Chariot is keeping a thick skin, keeping some boundaries up, but you're committing to something, you're devoting yourself to something. And so it does tell me that there is movement here. Both of these are in chariots, right? So I feel like what is likely to happen, doesn't have to, isn't guaranteed. What's likely to happen is that you're going to move slowly forward in this. You're going to tread sort of carefully here for a little while to make sure that everything looks good, but you're not running the other way. Okay, the Chariot is going to start moving. We have this, this is a card of action, right? And I think you're slowly moving forward, and maybe this means, well, you're going to go take a look at the house again a couple more times, right? And you're going to really, really listen to yourself and feel your feelings and do this internal work. And maybe it's kind of saying like, tell the salesperson to be quiet for now. Because you need to think, you need to feel it, you need to get that intuitive vibe of the place, right? If all you hear is the salesman telling you how good it is, then it's difficult for you to hear your own voice. So I feel like you're going to keep pursuing this, but it's going to be in a very cautious and protected way forward. But honestly, if I had to give an assessment here, I'd say that you're going to do it. And I'd say that you're going to feel good about it. But you're going to worry about that 9 of Swords in the past, but you have to realize that's the past. This is a new opportunity for you. I think it's going to be good. Yeah. We're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Leo on Tuesday and Saturday. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. Doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.